Friends, thank you so much for tuning into that first part of Society Sidebar. You've got more right here because I was able to talk Mike into hanging out a little bit. Mike, on my channel now, again, thanks for if you're tuning in from Good Morning Society. Appreciate you stopping by over here. Mike and I, we are going to talk a little bit more about DJ icons. So by the time this airs, it'll be just a few hours left on the campaign. Speaking of the campaign, Mike, how has the campaign gone from your perspective, right? Like you've been deep in this for years now, and then to
Yeah.
actually have it launch
hmm
and go, and you're near the end of it,
hmm
feelings, thoughts, emotions.
Just like everybody else has with campaigns, it's always nerve-wracking, but I'm just glad we funded and this game is going to become a reality. And then I'm looking forward to after the campaign because I believe once it really hits the tables and people start really realizing what's going on, especially in the hobby world, they're going to be amazed by how unique the game is, not just in looks and theme, but mechanics as well. And they're gonna enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you hit up the perfect point about this game is like when people see it, like that there's really something to be said for the table presence of this game, right? Just the actual turntable that it moves, and I love the fact that you can put an actual record there and move it around. That is such a clever touch. And so I'm assuming that it's been pretty tough from a manufacturing standpoint, just because that no one else has done this. So you were like
Oh
literally the
yeah.
first one, right?
Yeah, it was extremely tough trying to get the slip mat done correctly because the printing it has to be like on, for example, the reverse side of the mat rather than where people normally print the stuff on, and
Mm.
just trying to convince even manufacturers like this is the way I want it. Yes, I want the neoprene that slips on the mat on the cardboard itself rather than having the slippery side up and all these tiny little things.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
those are even things like I don't know production at all or manufacturing. So just knowing that you had to do something different, I know that's going to be a really tough thing. It's basically like a customized component, right?
Right. I went through a lot of manufacturers and narrowed it down to several. And I actually got the production copy um, before doing the Kickstarter, which was pretty expensive, but I needed to know if this game could or could not be made. And that's what took it so long. We've been working on this for 8 years, and in between we put out Upstage, created it and
Mm-hmm.
put out that whole game. But I mean, this was held up for so long because the the manufacturing was just so um, strange about it, and we could not get the costs down for it until we figured out how to do the spinning turntable
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
Yeah.
So,
And what is that like, that whole process like? Again, this is something I'm not familiar with, but just going and you've been working on this for years now and getting to the point where something that you want component wise, it wasn't there for a while, right? And then when it
mhm.
did get there, and then looking at the costs, did you have to like come back down a little bit on or cut things back in order to make it, or do you just go full blown with it and no matter what the cost, you're just going to figure it out?
Well, kind of both, because I mean, I had to cut out a lot of the game simply because it just was not for the audience that we intended, which are people that are new to board gaming. But
Mm-hmm.
once we finally found that a couple manufacturers could do it the way that we wanted to, it brought the cost down significantly because there were manufacturers talking about, well, let's just make it a whole plastic component 3D and 3D printed. And yeah, it'll only cost you like X amount of dollars per component. I'm like, dollars per component, that kills the whole game.
Yeah.
And who I'm trying to market to. But
Right.
once I found out that somebody did take a chance and printed it on the rubber side and it held, then it was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, that component is out actually now cheaper, way cheaper.
Yeah.
But still, it's more expensive than your normal slip mat because it's custom size with a hole and
Right.
weird printing. But
But you still managed to find a way to make it happen, right? To make it a reality.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, the backers did by backing it.
Yeah. Right. Let's
Yeah.
talk about the backers. You had mentioned in the main interview here. Again, if you haven't seen it yet, folks, click on the link below. You'll be able to catch that on Good Morning Society. Um, you talk about the core audience that you had. You had reached out through your contacts you made over the years who are non-gamers, right?
Yeah.
So talk about your core audience and how you developed that, and then how you just when you decided to say, hey, not just we should not only reach out to the core our core members, but also to hobby gamers as well.
Well, actually, I was reaching out to hobby gamers first, and I was marketing it more as a game like this is something to introduce to your non-hobby board game market um, friends, right? And it, it kind of got the side eye throughout most of like Gen Con
Yeah, yeah.
and places like that. And then I finally decided, or I had an opportunity to go to San Diego Comic Con and WonderCon, and it was very strange because I would I would go to all these board gaming conventions and not be able to really, it'd be like begging people to come play at the table. But when I went to where our core audience is, the people that I wanted to eventually play the game, the people like non-board gamers, they would come more readily to the table than hobby gamers. So,
Mm.
so WonderCon and San Diego Comic Con, which I'm local to for both, they have been more of our core audience than anybody else.
Oh, that's
It was very opposite of what I thought
yeah,
it should and could be, but so
yeah. And
yeah.
that leads me to my next question. So, what did you find it easier or more difficult to convert those fans into backers? Because as hardcore gamers, right, we're used to crowdfunding. We know what
Yeah.
Kickstarter is. We know what GameFound is. So,
Mhm.
your audience that were your core audience, were they familiar with crowdfunding?
I I don't believe most of my core audience is very familiar with, with crowdfunding, and it still takes a while to convince them and it's like say, yeah, you pay for it now and you'll get it a year from now. It's like, huh? But it takes a quite a bit of explaining like this game doesn't exist yet. Yes, it's in front of your eyes, but it doesn't really exist. But
Yeah.
if you want it to exist, you got to help me by being like a venture capitalist.
Ah, yeah.
So I mean, I did build a large mailing list over the years, and uh, I don't think a lot of them have latched onto the Kickstarter, but the few hardcore have. And I bet when we actually have the physical product, it's going to probably sell a lot better because a lot of people were already asking, well, where can I get it? Where can I just buy this prototype off you? I'm like,
Mm.
no, it's yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah.
for those for your core audience, then I would assume that you're going to have copies available at retail, in I'm sure at limited quantities. But that seems like that's where they would get their copy, right? Since they're not used to Kickstarter or
Mhm.
crowdfunding, they probably want to go to a store and pick it up.
Right. We're going to try to go to retail. I mean, we'll definitely have it available on our website and hopefully Amazon and any of the retail hobby stores that do back it and support it before we actually go to print. And we'll just see if a distributor picks it up for their stores or whatnot. But I think mostly it'll be available online first and wherever we are present at shows, um, and we'll go from there. So
Nice.
yeah.
Mike, I got if there, I'll wrap this up here with one more question here. But again, if you want to talk about anything else, that's great too. But you know, the question I want to talk about or I want to ask is, you've created this game over the last few years. It's been 5 years, I believe. You said, or about, or longer than 5 years. Been
It's
working on
been
DJ
8
Icon.
years, but in between there was another game.
Right. Okay. So
So
let's
yeah.
just say almost a decade of your life has been dedicated to DJ Icon.
Yeah.
Looking back now, as we come to the end of the campaign, looking back, are there lessons that you've learned? Things that you wish you would have known at the start that you know now, or are there lessons that you can share with others who may be inspired by your journey to maybe take their own leap into creating their own game?
Um, uh, Definitely a lot of lessons. I mean, I started this as a publisher because I felt I needed a backup source of income, and I quickly learned that this is not the industry to make money, right? But
Right.
I quickly fell in love with it, so I went through it, and I'm the type of person that likes to finish. Um, the I mean, take as long as you need to take to make the product that you want to take, especially if it's a passion project. A lot of people will try to rush you, but you don't need to be rushed, especially if it's not going to be the way that you need it or want it, because it will show on your product and on your face when you're displaying it like, this is not what I had in mind. You know?
Right.
And that's a hard sell if you don't
Yeah.
believe in your own product.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
so stick to
great.
your guns and be who you are. And if you are making a game that is passionate to you, be who you are.
I love that. Anything else, Mike, before we wrap things up? Any thoughts, comments, whether it's on DJ Icon or outside of DJ Icon? The floor is yours, my friend.
I just want to say, I mean, I hope that more people get into this hobby. And I think one of our main goals at Quality Games is to create board gamers, especially out of audiences that are not normally seen in board gaming, such as people of color, LGBTQ plus, and so forth. Like our illustrator, they are LGBTQ plus, and a lot of our team are minorities. But I think there's room for everybody to be in this industry, and everybody should be, because it just, the diversity of the industry needs the diversity of the people too. And with the diverse people, then we have even more ideas, more types of games, more everything, and it just would be a very beautiful place. I think it could only help and bring everybody together, actually.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah. Well
yeah.
said. Amen, my friend. Okay. Folks, that's going to do it. Again, thanks to Mike for joining me here on this is part 2 of Society Sidebar. You can see part 1 on Good Morning Society. This here, I really appreciate Mike joining me to talk a little bit more about DJ Icon. Check out the links below for Quality Games and also the DJ Icon Kickstarter. Okay, talk to you later. So long. Bye bye.